Vicar Daniel, what are you doing?
I'm trying to remember my baptism.
You're trying to remember your baptism? Okay, let's go back a few steps. What on earth are you carrying?
Oh, this is just the baptismal font from the sanctuary.
You're carrying the baptismal font from our sanctuary, and you said you were doing this because you wanted to...
Remember my baptism. This week in church, we'll be celebrating Jesus' baptism. So I thought there would be no better way to carry around the baptismal font.
Wow, we're going to have to unpack this a little bit, but maybe before we do that, maybe I could convince you to put down the baptismal font for just a second so we could talk a little bit about this.
Sure is heavy.
Okay, here we go. I think you should put that down while we talk about this.
I don't want to, because what if I put it down and I forget my baptism?
I understand how you don't want to forget that you've been baptized, but it might be easier to talk about this if you put it down.
You think so?
Okay. I think it's okay. Vicar
All right.
Daniel, why is it so important for you and for all of us to remember that we've been baptized in Jesus Christ?
At baptism, we are claimed as children of God, and that nothing can separate us from this bond.
Wow, so I mean, even if I make a lot of mistakes in my life, I'm still a child of God?
Yes.
What if I go away from the church for a long time?
Still there.
What if everybody else in my family changes, all sorts of stuff happens?
God's still there.
Wow, and I know that I'm a child of God because God has claimed me in my baptism. Wow, that sounds like something worth remembering, but there's got to be an easier way than carrying around that really heavy font.
I know, carrying around that font made me really thirsty. Can I get a drink real quick?
Yeah, let's do it. Oh, wow. Hey, wow, what do you know?
There's water there. Do you think this water can remind me of my baptism?
Yes, indeed. Maybe we should even put a sign up there that says, "You have been baptized in the waters of Jesus Christ." There you go. But so you don't have to carry around a heavy thing. Rather, anytime you use water throughout the day, you can remember that you've been claimed as a child of God.
That's right.
I like that a lot better than carrying around a font.
Pastor Rob, what would you change about the baptismal font?
What a great question. I never thought you'd ask, Mr. Daniel. Well, we used to, at this church, almost only have baptisms of infants. And so we wanted a little bowl for the little baby's head. But today, we often have people that are older, sometimes elementary schoolers, teenagers, and even adults who are baptized. And that's going to be the way it is for the next century at least, again, of a lot of baptisms of not just babies. So I'd like a little bit bigger of a bowl to be able to hold some more water here. The next thing is that I really like the woodwork, and it matches with the rest of our sanctuary really beautifully. But I'd like to maybe have a little bit bigger of a base, so it was a little bit more solid. But most importantly is that I'd like our baptismal font, which again probably would just change the bowl area, to have more of a cross in it. St. Paul says in his letter to the Romans that in our baptisms we're crucified with Christ. And so I'd like for somehow within this area up here there to be some sort of cross that could remind each of us that just as Jesus was baptized and then died and then rose from the dead, we too, baptized, will ultimately die, but finally rising into new life with him. So that's what I'm kind of thinking. Something a little bit stronger of a base there, maybe add something, and then a little bit bigger of a bowl that had some sort of cross inlay into it. But really, if you have ideas, we'd love to hear them. The goal is that this year, as part of our 275th celebration of Zion's, that we're going to have a new baptismal font.